a nationwide protest on June 12th. One of the leaders of the movement, Comrade Azan Soweto, has made an announcement and also has expressed satisfaction with the current administration over its economic reforms, which have triggered hardship. But meanwhile, all of this, the National Coalition Against Mass Killings and Impunity and the Gani Fawami Memorial Organization had written to the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, regarding the planned peaceful protest against injustice, insecurity, economic hardship, corruption, and other issues in Nigeria on June 12, 2025. Well, in the open letter to the Nigerian Police Force, he said that all security agencies, the coalition emphasized the importance of respecting the rights of peaceful protesters and warned against the use of force and lethal weapons. All right, joining us live to dig deeper into the issues of the June 12th and the head bad governance protest is a comrade. He's a member of the Democratic Socialist Movement, the DSM. He's also a coordinator of the Take It Back movement right here in Lagos. And also, he is a national youth leader, Socialist Party of Nigeria. Comrade Azan Taiwo Soweto. Comrade, good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me. Just a point of correction in my introduction.
Okay.
I'm not a coordinator of the Take It Back movement. I represent all the other organizations you mentioned, including the Ember Governance Movement in Lagos State, but not the Take It Back, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you very, very much for that update. And also joining us in a big movement, it will be one man who is a former senior special assistant to the Ondo State governor and also the Otumba Okaro, Boba Nomoron of Agowe and former member of NDDC governing body. Well, Dr. Benson Enukwamenyi will join us soon on the show. Comrade Azan Taiwo Soweto. A lot of Nigerians are saying that this seems like a Showore protest and not for Nigerians. How do you react to that?
That what?
A lot of Nigerians are saying that this protest coming June 12th is looking like a protest for Showore and not the one for Nigerians. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think that's hypocritical. This is not a protest about any individual, even though everybody who is concerned about the drift of the country into crisis, into poverty, and into the mass hunger are welcome to be part of the protest. But the protest is not about a single individual. The protest actually was called by the End Bad Governance movement in Lagos State in coalition with several other civil society organizations and groups like the Joint Action Front, like the CDHR, as well as several other organizations, numbering over 35, have called this protest. So it is not about a single person. It's not a protest called by a single person. So the objective of the protest, therefore, should not be taken to be about somebody. It is about our collective problems in this country, the problems of hunger and hardship that has been the case very, very particularly in the last 2 years since President Tinubu came to power and began to implement his neoliberal IMF World Bank economic policies. Remember that on May 29, 2023, the president he removed fuel subsidy and on that basis allowed fuel price to go into the roof. Then afterwards, he also increased the electricity tariff on several occasions, devalued the naira, and carried out other policies that have in many ways conspired to make life even more difficult for the people. So that is what this protest is about. The protest is to demonstrate that on the second anniversary of President Tinubu's government, his policies are not working and that Nigerians are still hungry. That is what the protest is about.
Okay, but to what objective are we looking at? Because we've had Hembas governance protests. We've had several ones. We even had the big one, the end SARS protest. So, do you think this protest will definitely get what it wants, what it deserves? Do you think this protest will call the government attention to the demands?
Well, at some point, inevitably, government would have to either listen to the people, or the people would have to chart their own destiny by themselves, no matter how long it takes. Oftentimes, when agitation starts like this, the government will give the impression that they are not affected, the protest or agitation is not strong enough to move them. That has always been the case. And that also means that people will begin to feel that maybe the protests are not effective since the government is not listening. If you look back at the history of the military rule in Nigeria, for instance, there were occasions when the protests were developing across the country, and it appeared that people were just disturbing themselves because the military government appeared unmoved, by the actions. But eventually, at some point, the military had to go when it could not bear the heat anymore. So I think that Nigerians, must have faith in the power of our collectivity in being able to change our destiny, and that is why these actions and protests that we have been having over the past few periods, we must continue to have them. At some point, they will definitely lead to the answers we want.
Take us through the demands again. What really are the demands of the Take It Back movement? What really are your demands? What really is it your demand or the demands of Nigerians?
The End Bad Governance movement, my brother. The End Bad Governance movement.
Okay, the End Bad Governance movement. What really are your demands? Is it the demands of the movement or the demands of the people?
It is the demands that led us out into the street in August last year. The demands of Nigerians that fuel price must be reversed back to the pre-2023 levels, demands that electricity tariff should be reversed back to pre-2023 level, demands that student loan should be scrapped. Instead, students should be given grants and public education should be better funded, demands that the minimum wage of 70,000 naira is too small for workers, and that workers should be paid a living wage, demands that unemployment has become a crisis affecting all and sundry, and the government must create jobs that are decent and that are adequate for the number of people who need jobs, demands that the insecurity plaguing the country across the different parts of the country today must be nipped in the bud. In Benue State, in Plateau State, in Borno State, in Kaduna State, Nigerians are dying like flies. We are demanding an end to insecurity, demands that there must be genuine electoral reforms. Right now, Nigerians' voices are not being heard. Elections are just becoming a ritual. We are demanding that there must be reform of the electoral laws to allow for greater participation of the Nigerian people in their affairs. Demands that the commanding heights of the economy must be placed under democratic workers' control, because right now the economy of Nigeria is being run to serve the interests of just a few people. So these are just some of the demands. The demands are many, but they are demands that Nigerians have been fighting around since 2003 when this government came over. They are demands that are, a rejection, of the condition of hunger and hardship that this government has put all of us under over the past 2 years.
All right. Thank you very, 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 very much for this, Comrade Soweto. Okay, now joining us live right here in the studio. I told you earlier, will be joining us now, Dr. Benson Enikwome. Yes, the Otumba Okaro Bobanimoro of Agowe, and a former member of the NDDC governing board, and a former SSA to the Ondo State Governor. Good morning. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure being here.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, thank God.
Thank you very much for being part. Even at a short time, you made it right here to the studio. Thank you very, very much. We also have back right here at the phone is Comrade Azan Taiwo Soweto, who like he addressed, he is just a coordinator of the handbag governance movement. Okay, let's come to you, Dr. Benson, right now. I don't know if you heard a little of what Comrade said.
Of course, yes, I did.
He talked about the demands of this taking back. There've been protests. There've been a lot of protests coming down June 12th, June 12th, June 12th. Take us back to history. You said you were one of those who participated in the struggle of June 12th. Take us back to history, and then let's relate it with what is going on right now with the people, why they are demanding for a new system in Nigeria.
Prior to the election that took place on June 12, 1993, Nigerians were ordered the subjugation of the military. Babangida was in the saddle, and then it was a situation wherein Nigerians were sad that the military had promised to return power to the civilians, and Babangida was just dribbling everyone, like his name then, Maradona, that he was just dribbling everyone. So the two parties that came, the NRC and the SDP, Nigerians came out on the 12th of June, 1993, and spoke loud and clear that they wanted Chief Moshood Abiola Kashimawo as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and so they voted en masse for the SDP. And that election was credible. I participated, reliable, and up to today in Nigeria is a reference point. So, to put it clearly, June 12 was a protest, and I want my words to be well understood. It was a protest by Nigerians to say, military, we don't want you any longer. And therefore, they came out not fighting, not quarreling, not disturbing the peace, but they spoke by their ballots and said we needed democracy. That is the spirit of June 12, where the people can speak and the authorities will listen. Sadly enough, Babangida didn't listen. And I'm not too much impressed by what he came out to say almost at something years thereafter, to say he was sorry for what transpired and all that. Yeah. Yes, you can be sorry, but what about the damage you had caused? If he had allowed Nigerians to stand by their words, by what they spoke on June 12, in that they thumbprinted, it was option A for election. I told you I participated. I wasn't a young boy. I was a man. I was already above 30. So you should know how old I was in 1993. Therefore, when they spoke loudly. And that is what they are still saying. So whoever is talking about the spirit of June 12, it is the spirit of Nigerians speaking as to what they want. We are told that we are over 200 million. Well, I'm not so sure about it. But the fact is, if we are above, over 200 million people are saying, this is what we want. Do we desire to be hungry? Do we desire to live in penury and squalor? Do we desire to be killed like ants and flies in our own country, a country that is well endowed? Now, what is the problem with our leaders? What issues are they having that they cannot give us modicum of peace of mind? We have had a lot of story about this insecurity. My dear brother, when I was at the University of Jos in the 80s, whenever I passed Lokoja, moving towards the north, or if I was going to go through Bida, across the river Niger, and my mind will be at peace because I knew there was not going to be any robbery. I had moved from Kaduna to Jos. From around 10 p.m. to almost 12 a.m. in the morning. And you won't be threatened. You will just be going at peace. What has happened? What has led us to this? Are we saying that the crop of persons who are defiant, who have inflicted pain on Nigeria by reason of this insecurity, they are more powerful, more connected, more organized than our own government that has this instrumentality to quench this kind of insurrection in our country, and therefore all of us are living in fears, trepidation. You don't know whether you should close one eye or close two eyes. Therefore, if people now have spoken by the reason of the spirit of June 12, which is the spirit that the voice of the people must be heard and respected, I believe every sane human being, every reasonable person should be able to say, this is the minimum to demand. This is the minimum to ask government. I had the privilege of going to a teacher training college where we had free food.
Doctor,
what has happened now?
Let me comment, Doctor. Is this a justification for the June 12 protests?
Well, I have just told you that June 12 itself is a protest.
The date itself.
The date itself is a protest in which Nigerians thumbprinted and said, we don't want military government. Military government is a symbol of repression, oppression, subjugation, a system in which the people were traumatized. So the people came out on that day without destroying anything. They came with their fingerprints. And they said, we are protesting. We want good governance. And therefore, thumbprinted and wanted a change. And like what is happening now, Babangida truncated that election. It is the ghost of that election that is haunting everyone now, which is, we want a government that will listen to us. We want a government that we will assess. We want a government that we can talk to, that can give us food, that can allow education for our children. Look at the manner in which people are moving, young ones are moving in droves out of Nigeria. You get to the airport, you become sick. Vibrant Nigerians are leaving this country, all because the country is not safe. So June 12th is a protest in itself.
Okay, let me hold you there. Let me come to Comrade. Comrade, I'm sure you heard Dr. Benson, all of those comments.
Yes, I did.
So how do you react to this? Comrade has said it's not just about that movement, that the date itself is a date to reckon with. Your reaction?
I mean, that's exactly why we chose the date. I mean, because June 12th is a day that reminds all of us about the journey for nationhood. And now the country has fallen short, of the aspirations of generations past. I was a young boy, during the June 12 elections and the struggles that came afterwards. But interestingly, it was my experience of the election and the protest afterwards, that gave me the understanding of the injustice that exists in this country. And that also made me to reach a commitment that I must do my part, in setting this country aright, because I grew up in Ife, which incidentally is the town where you have the popular Obafemi Law University. So I was like a spectator to the drama of the protests that occurred in the aftermath of the elections involving the students of OAU. And that built in me a certain determination that it is only by struggle that we can set things right in this country. And by the time I got into the university, incidentally, I also gained admission to OAU. I met many of the heroes of the struggle, including young boys who were carrying scars of gunshots. There was even one, whose leg was amputated because he had been shot in one of the protests in Lagos by the military, and the legs had to be amputated. It made me to realize that struggle just goes beyond what we see on television with people carrying placards. Behind every struggle and every protest are people who suffer the consequences in terms of death, in terms of injury, in terms of victimization, loss of opportunities, and all of that. The June 12th struggle that we are waging today is a struggle to remind all of the tears and the sweat and the blood shed by the heroes past, to reestablish the fact that the Nigeria they are fighting for is still yet not achieved, because you can't say that this Nigeria of hunger in the midst of abundance, this Nigeria where a civilian president is acting as a dictator, this Nigeria where elections does not count, where looting is going on a daily basis, where anti-poor policies are being foisted on the people, you can't say that it is this Nigeria that all those young men and women died and bled for in the mid-90s. It cannot be. This Nigeria that we have today is a Nigeria that is an aberration, to the aspirations and the dreams, of the young people in the past who fought for the end to military rule and for democracy. So the June 12th protest next week is a protest, to act as a memorial to their struggle and to their contribution. And also for us to demonstrate the fact that as a new generation, we are prepared, to take the struggle forward. And we are not going to allow the current rulers of the country to turn Nigeria into a banana republic. And that the dreams and aspirations of all of those young people in the past, which has not been met, becomes our own dreams and aspirations, and we are going to join the struggle and continue to fight until those aspirations and dreams are met. That is what June 12th struggle next week is all about. It's a struggle to redefine Nigeria from the point of view of the working masses and of the youth.
Okay, thank you very much. A struggle to redefine Nigeria. But Nigerians are saying, let me put this to Dr. Benson. Nigerians are saying as it is, well, why all of this struggle? The truth, MK Abiola, who we say is the owner, of this June 12th, that the children are now in support of the government that we are saying we're taking struggle, we're taking movement off. So that why do we have to do that when even the children are not in agreement with the movement, with the struggle? What do you think, Doctor? You are also a barrister. So if we have to put the two inside, do you think it's necessary?
June 12th is not hereditary. It's not from father to son. So the children of Chief MKO Abiola cannot inherit the spirit behind the June 12th. A father may be a lawyer, and the children decide to be musicians, to be artists, to be medical doctors. It will not dovetail. Because the father is a lawyer, the children must of necessity become lawyers. Chief MKO Abiola was a symbol of what Nigerians wanted in 1993. And I dare say, maybe save for Kola Abiola and a few others who were matured enough, some of the children of Chief MKO Abiola were toddlers at that time when the issue of June 12th came up. So June 12th was not Abiola's heritage. It was the voice of Nigerians. And I don't want us to narrow it down to Abiola's family. Any of them that falls in line with what Nigerians demanded on June 12th then, of course, can come on board. If you decide to go the other way around, so be it. There had been kings who had ruled well, and when their children came on board, they decided to mess up. David was a good ruler. Solomon came on board and decided to inherit 700 wives and 300 concubines.
I didn't know you were a pastor.
Oh, of course, yes. Now, he decided not to follow in the way of his father. It is his right. Therefore, June 12th is not hereditary. It's not for the children of Chief M.K. Abiola. Let's go to the issue. Okay. Comrade has said something, and that is very important. A good number of the persons who are at the helm of affairs now in Nigeria were and are beneficiaries of what transpired on the June 12th. They are the ones who benefited from it.
You want to name them?
Of course, Mr. President is one of them. He can't deny it. If he denies the spirit of June 12th, he has denied his presidency, where Nigerians spoke. Now, if he has become the person on whom the mantle of leadership has fallen upon, it will be hypocritical not to listen to the voice of Nigerians. Because you are the president of Nigeria, and we are Nigerians. My dear, I tell you this. If the rich also cry now, you will know the effect on the poor. And this is what is happening in the country. It is hard. It's difficult. You put 100,000 in your hand. It is like as if to say you are handling 50 kobo of 1983.
Yeah, you're right.
So, of what value is 100,000? Therefore, the government must be sensitive, and that is the point. They must pay good attention. Guns, ammunitions, all these are for a period of time. You are there. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is for a period of time, maximum 8 years. You won't be, but your name will be. Because we will say, when you had the opportunity to change the tide, what did you do? Therefore, the cries of Nigerians must be listened to. The younger ones who are feeling bad, who have read in the history how it was in the day of yore, are entitled to demand for a return to that period. If you cannot give them 3 square meal, at least give them 2.5 square meal. Not this 001 or 000 with water. And this is sad. Therefore, I join forces with every well-meaning Nigerians to demand good governance from our government. And they should stop this joke of coming to real data to us on television. We want to see it is no longer earmarked. It should be eye-marked. We want to see it with our very eyes. One of our traditional rulers in my area, he says, come, I need practical. I don't want this your theory. Enough of the theory. We want to see food come down. We want to see insecurity abated. My dear brother, do you know what it means that on a day to have over 50 persons slaughtered in a state? We are not talking slaughtering of cows. We are talking about slaughtering of human beings. Now, it no longer makes news when these bandits or these rascals kill 5-10 persons. They will say, how many persons died? It is now news when we have about 300. Have we become animalistic? Is that the state in which we are going? And so, our government and the government at the saddle must take proactive steps now. I listened to one of the senators who said, if some of these service chiefs are no longer of value to what should be done, they should be removed. If ministers are no longer of value to what should be done, they should be removed. President Tinubu should note, this government will be called the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and not the government of any other person. So, it should act in the interest of Nigerians. It should listen to our people. It should listen to us. And our leaders who hitherto were criticizing Jonathan, they shouldn't keep quiet.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that when your son is to go on errand, you tell your son, come back early in time, oh. But when it's another person's son, you can say you can come back around 1 a.m. Anytime. So whether evil happens to him or not is immaterial. Our Yoruba people who were loud criticizing the government of Jonathan, we must not keep quiet and be loud, because hunger is not discriminatory. Hunger goes around everybody. Insecurity does not know whether a Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo. If you are met by this rascal, they will deal with you. Kidnapping does not know your tribe. Therefore, we must speak out. Yorubas are known to speaking out their mind. We shouldn't be quiet. Not because we are derailing the president, not because we are making mockery of him. No.
This same president contested in 2012 against Jonathan.
Very well.
He protested, I mean.
Yes, he did. So he should see protest as a normal way of life. Rather, provide security for those who are protesting. But if you say, no, you don't want to see them, that will be hypocrisy of the highest order.
Okay,
the young ones are entitled to protest.
The young ones are entitled to protest. That's it. Coming from Dr. Benson, former member NDDC governing board, former senior special assistant to the Ondo State governor. Okay, let's turn the mantle down to Nigerians. You can call and be part of the conversation this morning. Looking ahead, it's just 7 days to June 12th. And there are talks about the end bad protest. Well, colors 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Or you can call 0802 502 7711. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Michael. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Welcome to the show Spotlight on Super FM. What's the name? Where you calling from?
Good morning to your guest, also Ben from Iba.
All right, Ben from Iba, please make your comment.
Well, all these people that are talking about June 12th every year, I have never heard them mention about Humphrey Musi, the brain behind this June 12th. The man that the INEC chairman as of that time, the man that confronted the military, he said, Sani Abacha and the Babangida, he went against their will and started announcing this result. Nobody talk about him, nobody even pay him homage, nobody reference anything to him. If Humphrey Musi not announced part of that result, remaining only one state, nobody will know about that Abiola won the election. It is not good. Concerning this protest, I'm telling you the truth. Anybody that's protesting against Tinubu is wasting his time. The only thing that will work now is for us to rally, to conduct a national assembly, and hold them accountable to give us good electoral act. To lock them there, that is the only way. Protesting against Tinubu have been signed into law. All this suffering has been signed into law. 2025 budget is 39 trillion will be generated from IGR. 15 trillion that will make it 54 trillion. 15 trillion will be used for debt service, and it will be funded. It will be borrowed from locally. So what are you now protesting? The 2024 budget will end in June, and the beginning of July 2025 budget will start. You will see pressure now on companies, industries, manufacturers. So our agencies, even your radio station, tax will increase everywhere in order to fund this particular project. So what are you protesting? The other people that protested the other time, they were all arrested. Even children, we are kept inside correctional centers. They charge for treason. Who knows what we do? Protest doesn't work good for this country. Let us go to National Assembly. Let them give us a good electoral act. Let us bear these 2 years now. When we bear it, let us select, let the people that will rule us in 2027 be the people we voted in. That is what I believe that will work. I'm not against anybody. The protest is not good. Goodness will. So you see them breaking people's shop, looting, and doing all sorts of evil. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Yes, keep your call coming in. 0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. Or call the other lines 0705 6900 927. 0705 6900 927. Don't forget, you can also send us a WhatsApp message via that number 0705 6900 927. Let's go to the WhatsApp line right here. It says, good morning, crew. Okay, Olamilekan from Lagos. Master strategies, subsidies gone, economic disaster. The nation is now a gangster paradise. Highest out of school children in the world. Poverty capital of the world. More than 7.2 million private and public companies shut down. Highest doctor and other professionals jackpot. No infrastructure, no development, etc. Okay, it says. Okay, that is why we are in this nightmare. 2 years of Soros chairs, and you can't give what you don't have. It's a shame. The worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there is a country. Okay, Olamilekan from Lagos. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
God bless you, the moderator. I'm Roman. I'm calling from Oki in Ogun State.
Roman from Ogun State.
Yes.
Please make your comment. Go ahead.
God bless you. I want to also thank the guests in the house. I only want to say that I'm happy whenever I hear people like the man that is there with you speaking out the truth. I know in this part of the world, we don't like to hear the truth. But whatever happens, there must be people that will always say the truth. And it's only the truth. Even in the Holy Bible, it says the truth. And the only person that can set us free. So I would like people to stand out at this time and prepare for 2027. As what we are seeing now is already, they have already molud and have already, gang up against the democracy. But until the people come out, we in Nigeria, look at what is happening in other parts of the world. People will always come out and show their grievances and show their anger. It's not issue of sentiment or tribe. These things will not help us. The state will change our mindset. We can't go anywhere. So we must.
Okay, thank you very much. Please call us back. Please call us. Dr. Benson, you wanted to make a comment.
Yes, I was a bit worried.
I know, comrade, you want to make a comment too. We'll come to you quickly. Okay, I think it's call back. Okay, let's quickly pick the comment. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, try call us back. 0705 6900 927. You can also drop a WhatsApp message with that line. 0705 6900 927 or 0802 502 7711. Okay.
The first caller that made the call and said, if you just protest, it makes no sense. That is the spirit of depression. You see, the oppressor knows that he's oppressing. All that the oppressor wants from you is permanent silence.
Wow.
But when you speak out and you talk, people will know that the oppressor is oppressing you. How do you want us to keep quiet, for goodness sake?
Let's pick this call, Doctor. Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anif Oshe is my name. I'm calling from Ota.
All right, Anif Oshe from Ota. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I think we should not discountenance protest. I'm talking about protest. Not violent protest that is premeditated to cause mayhem. That should not be allowed. Let our protests be peaceful. No policeman will look at people that are well, behaved and start to shoot at them. We must have that at the back of our mind. There's no way any protest that is violent will be met with violence anywhere in the world. Let our protest be peaceful. Another thing is, let's talk about government all the time. government. What are the people? Who makes up the government? Are they not our brothers and sisters that are in the position that we're talking about, that are doing all this to us? There cannot be a change unless we have character reformation. The problem of Nigeria is spiritual. People are spiritually defiled. If you put anyone that is spiritually defiled in any position, it's going to destroy the place. So as long as that is the situation, we be in the same boat. Let's be refined as human beings. Let's fear God. A person that fears God will not steal money when you put him in position. He will not carry him to kill other people's children. God bless us, everyone.
God bless every one of us. Okay, Comrade Soweto, I know you want to make a comment. It's just 7 days. Today, a day like this next week, Thursday next week, is June 12th. And you want to react to what the callers will just said.
I want to first adopt the position taken by the last caller, where he said that we should not discount protest, the efficacy of protest, because the June 12th that we want to mark next week itself is a testimony to the power and efficacy of protest. It demonstrates how when people come together and they are united, about their destiny, it shows that no matter how long it takes, the oppressors would eventually have to concede. That is what this next week, Thursday, commemoration of June 12 demonstrates. Is to reawaken in the minds of the Nigerian people, the remembrance of our history, that at no time have we as the Nigerian people, ever betrayed, ourselves. We have always banded together, in order to fight for our destiny. That was the case even in the period of the anti-colonial struggle. We did not win independence in this country on the platter of gold. It was on the basis of the Nigerian people coming together, organizing, agitating, and fighting for freedom. So that is what next week Thursday is all about. However, I also recognize that a lot of Nigerians also feel that we should not just leave things at the level of protest alone. And that's a very fair point. And I would just like to assure that person that, as we are protesting on the street, we are equally taking several other steps and actions behind the scene to continually push the demands of the Nigerian people. For instance, on the question of the Electoral Act now, the protest on June 12th next week is to demand the new electoral reforms. But that does not mean that we are leaving things just at the level of just protesting for electoral reforms.
But they were saying that can't it be taken down to the National Assembly?
That is where I'm going. There are many organizations who are working on that, who are petitioning, who are lobbying, who are presenting, at certain levels to try and push these things behind the scene. But the reality is that we have a ruling elite that does not concede to anything except they see, the power of the people. So that is why protests are always important, even when we are making effort behind the scene in terms of lobbying and petitioning. Protests are always important from time to time to remind the ruling elite the implications and consequences of not listening to those demands and not doing what is right. So I would like to encourage those who think that protest should not be the only thing, that while they are right, that is not a reason why they should sit back at home on Thursday. When all of us are out in our thousands, in our millions, our message become more powerful to the ruling elite, so that all of those efforts that are being made behind the scene can easily, get answers. The National Assembly is also part of the problem. They, just like the executives, they do not listen to the people except they see the power of the people on the street. Don't forget that many of these people are members, of the president's party. And those who are even in the opposition party and the National Assembly, from the point of view of their ideology, And and the antecedents, they have not shown that they are any different from the members of the ruling party. But that does not mean that there are no opportunities that we have explored in the past to try and push some pro-people ideas. So some of these elements, some of these people, members in the National Assembly. But again, if they do not see the power of the people on the street, if they do not realize that the consequence of not listening to those behind the scene effort is that they are going to have hundreds of thousands of the people on the street, they don't see that clearly, then all of those efforts will not work. So the bottom line is for Nigerians to know that protests are not the only thing that are happening, other things are going on. But for all of us to also recognize that we all have a duty. When protest is called, every Nigerian that is concerned about this issue will be betraying himself or herself and their children and the destiny of this country when they stay at home watching the television instead of coming out onto the street.
I know.
June 1993 was one of the, in terms of participation, it is an election that had millions participating because it was not just an election to elect either the SDP and the NRC. June 1993 election was actually a referendum on military rule in this country.
Yes,
so Nigerians actually utilized the opportunity by their vote, including those who voted for SRC and SDP, to demonstrate that an end to military rule was needed right there and then.
Okay, comrade.
And that was why when the election was annulled, it was not just those who voted for SDP on the streets. Even those who voted for another political party felt that the annulment of that election, is a rejection of their position that an end to military. So what I'm therefore trying to say is that June 12, 2025 protest is a task and responsibility for everybody who is dissatisfied with the status quo.
Okay, we don't have much time. Quickly, comrade. I know that Lagos State government just approved only 2 designated locations for this protest. That's the Gani Family Freedom Park at Ojota and the Peace Park at K2. Where your plans? What are your plans for this protest? Have they written any petition to the police?
Is unconstitutional. Such an approval is unconstitutional. We are in court. We have been in court with the police and the Lagos State government over there. So the status quo ante is that the Constitution takes precedence right now, while the court are still trying to interpret whether the Lagos State government or any government has powers to restrict the right of people to peaceful assembly. So the takeoff point for our protest on Thursday, June 12th, is Ikeja Under Bridge in Lagos State by 7:30 a.m. We are calling on all Nigerians to join us on that day.
Okay, thank you very, very much for that. All right, let me come back to Dr. Benson right here. Dr. Benson, a whole lot has been said. In all of this, June 12th, do you think this is a perfect timing? Do you think this is a way to mark Nigeria's democracy?
Well, let me just get some views corrected.
Okay.
Protests would not necessarily mean burning of houses, burning of cars, destructions. Those ones are criminals in nature. That's not what we're talking about. It should be a situation where people are allowed to hear their views and say them loud and clear. I remember, was it in 2012, when the likes of Pastor Tunde Bakare and a good number of them gathered at Gani Family Freedom Park. People spoke out. Nigerians listened as to why the fuel subsidy then should not be removed. And therefore, those ones were not miscreants. They were individuals in this country. Are we saying that what is happening in Nigeria now, we must fold our arms like primary school children who will be saying, "Our Father who art heaven," and nobody talks? My dear brother, the truth of the matter is this: I do not encourage violence. I do not support miscreants coming to take over the protest. government must also ensure that the protesters are protected. It is their duty. You don't need permission to protest. Our courts have heard in plethora of cases, they don't need police permission. It is a constitutional right. The government haven't been told.
But we know there are always invaders in protests.
I'm saying the government haven't been told now that the protest will start under the bridge in Ikeja should provide security for the protesters so that miscreants will not come into the place. And so, but again, you can also say that where the righteous are meeting, the unrighteous also one way or the other will come in. But you can always filter them out. So I want to tell Nigerians, like Comrade has said, under the table, behind the cover, some activities are going on. But you see, a child that will be called a child, after 8 days, particularly in the Christian religion, you bring the child out for naming ceremony. The undercover things that are happening will be known by the naming ceremony. Or protests are coming to say, this is what we are saying. In case you are not hearing what you are being told behind the scene and not making sense to you, this is what we are saying.
Okay,
listen to us.
Let me hold you quickly, Barrister, because of our time. Comrade, we are hearing rumors that there's going to be a thing like Oro coming from June 12th. I don't know. What's your reaction to that? We're hearing, well, maybe there's going to be a Oro from 4 a.m. Down to the evening time. How will you react to that? I also come to Barrister quickly, just what we have less than 1 minute right now.
No, that is not a problem. The June 12th is a public holiday. It's a day to remember the aspiration of Nigerian people for a better nation.
So the Oro talks,
in our tradition,
it's not an issue.
In our tradition, Oro itself sometimes serves as a cultural protest against certain ills in society. So if the Oro wants to join the struggle of Nigerian people on that day, the Oro is welcome. There's no problem. There's no problem. Everybody has democratic rights.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Azan Taiwo Soweto. Yes, a member of Democratic Socialist Movement, National Youth Leader, Socialist Party of Nigeria. Also among the member of the End Bad Governance Movement. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, I have here also Dr. Benson Enikwomoy. Yes, former member and NDDC governing board and former SSA to Ondo State Governor. Barrister, thank you very much for your time this morning.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right, God help us. Yes, it's a one Nigeria. This is where we draw the curtain on the show this morning on Spotlight on Super FM 92.7. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 down to 9 a.m. Michael Inyang is my name. Please have a beautiful day.
We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. Switch to the good side of life here on 92.7 Super FM.
0.7 Super FM.
Your one family, one radio, Super 92.7.